Well, hello. My name is Daddy-O. I do some Uber and a little bit of YouTube from time to time. Hey, listen, today we're going to talk about something that I'm going to try to help people with and understand a little bit. I do an Uber rental. Let's get it up front right from the get-go, okay? I've talked about that many a times on this channel. But I'm going to try to tell you, as an Uber X driver, how to try to turn your vehicle, whether it's a rental or not, into a limo X, a high-end X. How to make more with whatever the hell you're driving. All right, let's go ahead. I do a rental. A lot of people don't. I don't care today. We're going to talk about how to make the next step. Let me explain something right up front. Again, I have done transportation work for a hell of a long time. Long before Uber ever popped up anywhere in the world, I was doing transportation work. I have done taxis. I have done limos. I have done black sedans, party buses. I have if it's moved people, I have pretty well done it in my history. I've done some very high-end stuff. And when I say high-end, let me clarify that from the get-go. I've drove limos, like I said. I have done celebrity work. I have carried quite a few celebrities that if I said their names, you would go, oh my God, he's drove that person? Yes, I've drove those people. I have done a lot of black sedans where you had to go and I worked for a company for a while where we just went and specialized. People were coming for rehab. We would go in black sedans, pick the people up, and we were responsible for that person until we got them to rehab. I mean, they followed everything we did, so high-end stuff. I have done it. Doing that over the years, I learned, and it set a foundation for my rest of my transportation career. It moved me right into my personal vehicles. Like a lot of people today use your personal vehicles to do Uber. Completely understand that. When I started doing with my personal vehicles, I carried that thought process I had doing the high-end stuff. In other words, I made sure my cars were always in a certain state. Even though they were a little rough around the edges, let's say, I made sure they were there. I made sure that they were presentable. I started out with a Land Rover, an old LR2 Land Rover. I love that little vehicle. It was freaking awesome. But I wore it out. I wore that one out. But while I had it, the reviews I got from people, I had a full entertainment setup in the console here. Like I said, I used to be a DJ on the radio. I know about how people, while they're riding, likes to be entertained by doing the limo stuff before. I've always tried to present that environment with my peeps. So in my LR2, I had a full entertainment setup here, so that you could watch YouTube, we could do whatever, blah 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 blah. And it worked. I was getting such great reviews from the people when I started doing Uber on my entertainment and everything. I catered to that. I pointed that out. When that little vehicle got wore down that it couldn't go down the road no more, it was fine. The final blow was the AC was still working, but the blower unit had gone bad, which meant the entire dash was going to have to come out, which was going to be well over $1,000 and some to do it, blah blah. Well, the vehicle was already worn down. I didn't want to spend that, so what I did, I jumped out and started doing some Uber Eats, some DoorDash. I was doing whatever I could to keep that little vehicle going because it was still a good vehicle. And I hated to give it up. I hated to go through that process saying, bye-bye, you've been good, but down the road we go. That vehicle finally crapped out where I think I ended up with some kind of fuel leak or something underneath the floor there that I couldn't get to stop. And I didn't want to spend any more money. I was done with that vehicle. Okay, it had done me well. Bye-bye. $500 is what I got for it. Moved on into a Lexus. Again, drove that. It already had a good number of miles, but it was a Lexus. It was going to last me forever. Blah. But again, the wear, the tear after a year, it was showing it was not doing what I needed it to do what I wanted to do. And I wanted to keep that environment of a nice car, a nice vehicle, because that's what I have always seen help me make the extras. And I've talked about extras before. There is money out here you can be made, that can be made. Work for that. You're not just working for the fare, you're working for the extras, okay? So I moved on out of that vehicle, and that's when that happened. It was time to see what else can I do, and that's when I stumbled into the rental market, the rental program. And lo and behold, first vehicles I started getting were from Hertz. Don't do Hertz. Let me say it again. Don't do Hertz. Okay? Called up Avis, or I went through the app so I could go through Avis. Went through Avis. Avis was killer. I have been with Avis over 3 years now. I have consistently been in a vehicle. Never been out of a rental vehicle. It gets enough. They give them to me. Every vehicle I've gotten through Avis. And now your market and your people, Avis people, may be different. Mine are thumbs up, double thumbs up. If I could stick my toes up, I would. That's how I appreciate them. They have always put me in a vehicle right around 30,000 miles, somewhere in that range. Like I say, I've been doing this for 3 years now. Once my vehicles get up to around that 90,000 or just about that or just over that, that's when they let me know, hey, it's time to get out of it. We're going to give you something else. And they move me right into another vehicle. I've been doing this for a bit, all right? And I'm not going to go through all the insurance stuff. I got videos on that. If you're interested in doing this, go look at some of the other stuff. But you can take your vehicle today and do the things that I have talked about in my videos and try to make it into a better vehicle, a cleaner vehicle, a smell good. That's the biggie. Guys, I'm telling you, the biggest thing I hear from people, and I get it, I swear to God to you, if I do 10 runs today, 8 of the people getting in the vehicle are going to comment about the smell. That's the first thing when people get in your vehicle, they hit them right square between the eyes, is the smell of your vehicle. So try to hit them right between the eyes with a good one, a good smell, okay? Clean car, good smell, bam. I've talked about this in so many videos, but that's how you can take the approach to taking whatever you're driving, your rental, your personal, whatever you're having to go out and try to make that buck with. Turn it into something a little better. You see it every day, all right? It's that first impression that people have when they get it. Sometimes you might just want to walk around to the other side and climb in the back seat. See what people are seeing when they first get in. Now, I've told you that I've had this vehicle since, today is November, coming up on the end of November here. 15th, 16th, somewhere in that, 14th. I don't have it up on my thing. I'm not going to bring it up. But take the time to get in your vehicle and see what's going on. This vehicle I've had for 6 months now, 7 months almost. This vehicle is already showing wear and tear. I can already see where people have been getting in. How many hundreds of people a year do you put in your back seat if you're doing Uber regular? You know, how many people are climbing in and out of your seat? You know, in and out of your doors. You know, how many times a year is that seatbelt coming up and down as those people getting in? Is that seatbelt getting a little sloppy? Is it not going all the way up? You know what I'm saying? You start seeing these kind of things. I'm already starting to see that in this vehicle that I've only had 7 months. I'm already seeing the wear and tear. So that's why the rental works for me. But if you have your vehicle, try to fix those things. Try to clean that up. If the seatbelt's got a little wear and tear on it, a little dirty from people taking their hands, get back there with a little scrubby, clean that stuff up. Clean it up a little bit. First impressions. All right? If you're wanting to make more, you got to take care of the detail. So you can take that Uber X and turn it into a high-end X. All right? You can make it happen if you try. And a lot of people, I'm not going to get into the lazy part, but a lot of people are just making their money and going home, not trying to make the extra. We want to make the extra. That's what I work for. I don't know. I can't just go out and do what I thought I was going to do in the beginning when I started Uber. I thought I was just going to go out and, hey, we're going to run here, run there, run there. You know, I like I said, I used to do taxis. You know, I paid more in 2010 to rent a taxi daily than I pay to rent my Uber from Avis today. All right, 15 years later, I'm paying less to do more and make more. Boom. So, yeah, if you've stayed this long and you've hung on this long, buy Daddy-O a cup of coffee. God dang, I need some energy here. Anyway, Daddy-O out for the day. I'm going to let you go. Subscribe, ring the bell, do all that kind of stuff. If you're still hanging with me, I don't talk about that a whole lot because that's important. But the message I think sometimes I have to get out here because I see so many comments on some of this stuff. But yes, you can make more money with your whatever if you take care of it and make it a high end. Try to clean it up a little bit. That's the bottom line today, guys. Anyway, Daddy-O out for the day. Maybe. Have a good afternoon. Bye.